Good afternoon, everyone, and happy International Women's Day to everyone tuning in around the world. I'm Roxy Philson, Chief Marketing Officer at the One Campaign, and I'm thrilled to be here today with such an amazing group of women. We have a number of girls who have traveled from northern Nigeria and now are being educated in the US. We have Suzie, and Sarah. We're also joined by Wright and Connie Britton, and we're here to talk about the fact that 130 million girls around the world are without an education right now. Connie, I wonder if you could start by telling us, we're here at the UN today, and I wonder if you could start by telling us what we came to do.
Well, today, in honor of International Women's Day, we walked in together with a really amazing delegation with the One Campaign. We walked into the General Assembly of the UN to present a letter which has been signed by over 350,000 people, basically asking the UN to please make it a priority to educate the 130 million girls around the world who are not being educated. So it was a very exciting morning and a very important morning because the UN has its global goals, which they're trying to accomplish by 2030, and it seems very accurate to say that it will be almost impossible to accomplish the global goals without educating 130 million girls.
Absolutely, absolutely. Robin, getting girls into school, I know, is something that you're passionate about. Do you want to just share a little bit about where that passion comes from?
I traveled to the Congo in 2011 because of the crisis that's going on there with illicit mineral trade. And witnessing what happens when a family, a community is dismantled because of militia that come through and they just wipe it clean and they take over the territory. And it steered me into these civil society groups to see how the mother, the wife, lost the husband. Dad's gone. And these little children don't have a father any longer, and their mother doesn't have a vocational skill. She doesn't know how to support her family without the man. And watching how quickly the progress happened and how much hope and faith these women had for a sustainable life post-trauma was the most inspiring thing to me. And I wanted to advocate for that. Why don't we just keep spreading the message to educate female is only going to make more value of the infrastructure, of family, of society, of their community. And when you have an educated woman, you have an empowered woman. And when you have some empowered women and girls, you're only going to add to the health and the productivity of that family, of that community, and then it's going to prosper for other generations, and so on and so on. So Every Girl Counts is such a great promotional tool, because every girl that's not counted is one less dollar in the world, right? If we're talking about economic growth, we are the same as men. So don't you want that 50% more to add to the boys?
Absolutely, absolutely. Say, I wonder if you can tell us a little bit about what it was like to grow up in a place where going to school just wasn't even a guarantee.
I'm Zay. I'm from northeastern part of Nigeria. Going to school in my place was a very difficult task, because for a girl to go to school, you know that you're being exposed to dangers, you're being prone to, like, you know for sure that they will come after your life. Boko Haram is a terrorist group like the ISIS in Nigeria, and Boko is a Hausa word, and Haram is an Islamic word, so it's put together, Boko Haram, which means education is forbidden, so they are against education. So for a girl to go to school is forbidden. That's how it's translated. And I know of a family that stayed very close to my home there in Nigeria. The dad always looks at me anytime I go to school and he asks me, Zay, when are you going to finish your school? And I told him that I have a long way, because as of then I was in, I would say, grade 6. And I told him I have a long way to go, and he said he's not going to spend his money to educate his girls. He feels that a girl's life should end in the kitchen. She should just get married, and
Wow.
that is it. He said he's not going to spend his money. He said it's even better for him to educate the men, because he knows for sure that the men are someday going to get married and they will take care of their wife. But why should he spend his money educating a woman since she's going to get married?
Wow.
So my dad, or rather, Boko Haram attacked my family, and my dad was killed. And I sustained a bullet in my head, but thank God it was surgically removed. And today, right before you, I'm alive. I grew up with my mom as a nurse, and my dad was the pastor. I was just thinking, because when my dad was killed, my mom checked the pulse in his wrist and his neck, and she told us through her tears that he was gone. So I was just wondering, what if she was not educated? You know, there was nobody we could call for help. We didn't know what was happening to him. And also my head, because I didn't even know I sustained a bullet in my head. It was weeks later, my head swelled up, and so my mom quickly rushed me to the hospital to find out what the problem was. And so I underwent an X-ray, and we were told that I have a bullet in my head. And so she had to schedule an appointment, you know, this and that, and it was removed. So I was just imagining, what if she wasn't educated, you know?
Right.
That's how I would just die, you know, because,
And you're
So-
looking to follow in her footsteps,
Yeah.
studying medicine, right?
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I believe educating a girl is educating a community. Educating a girl is educating a generation, because someday she's going to get married, she's going to have kids. If she's uneducated, what is she going to tell her kids? You know, if she's educated, then she's going to impact knowledge into her kids.
And can I say one more thing about that?
Yeah.
You know, terrorist organizations like Boko Haram, they're all about working out of fear, and they're all about suppressing power. So if they're so terrified by girls being educated, just imagine the power that they're trying to suppress, and the power that those girls, when they're educated, could bring to themselves and their communities and the world. I mean, in a way, they prove it.
Yeah.
It's essential that we educate girls, and you guys prove it.
And Sarah, I know that you had a similarly challenging experience. I wondered if you wanted to tell us a bit about your journey to get here and to get a great education.
Well, I went through a long journey before I ended up coming here. I was schooling in a different school before. I went to a boarding school starting from high school. So I was in a boarding school in a place called Bama, and it was a girls' school, but there was an attack that happened there also when I was like my last semester in 11th grade. So I have to leave that school and go home. So I went home and like not going to school. So I told my dad I have to go to school. So we were looking for a school nearby where I can go, and then we couldn't find a school because the attacks have happened in a lot of schools where students have to move to other schools. So I ended up going to Chibok. So I went to Chibok in May 2013, starting from high school, like my 12th grade. So I started schooling there, and then in April 2014, while we were writing our final exam, so we that are at school are all named seniors that we're writing our final exam. Everything was good, everything was fine until the 14th of April. The Boko Haram came to Chibok town. They were burning houses, shouting and shooting guns, and we were at school. We have no idea what to do. So we all waited for the teachers to come and tell us what to do, without knowing that the Boko Haram came in to the school and went to the staff quarters where our teachers live, and they couldn't find any of the teachers. They all ran away, and like without telling us what to do. or what is going to happen because we have no idea. So the Boko Haram came in to the hostel where we're staying. It was at night around 11 p.m. So when they came in, some of them were wearing military uniforms, so we thought maybe they were securities that came to tell us what to do, but they're not. So when they came, they have guns, so we have no idea who they were. So they said, you should all come together, gather yourself, and we're here to protect you. So after we all gathered together and sat down, and one of them started explaining to us that, okay, you've heard what is happening in other places. Today we're here with you. Whatever we ask you to do, or whatever questions we ask you, if you do not answer, if you do not do it, we're going to shoot all of you. That was when we knew that they were the Boko Haram. So from there, they asked where are the boys. So the school is mixed with boys, but the boys are day students. They come to school in the morning and go back home because there's no enough space for them to stay in the school as a boarding student. So after we told them the boys are day student, they asked where our food were kept. They pointed out two girls to go and show them where the food are, and they packed all the food. We didn't know that they came to the school with a lot of cars and trucks, and they packed all the food and started burning the hostel, like our books, our clothes, and everything. So they asked us to move out of the school area and follow them to like a bush area nearby. So they surrounded us with guns, and they said we shouldn't shout or run. So we were all scared, and we followed them. And we went under a tree, and they said we should all sat down. So we all sat down, and they communicate between themselves with a language that we don't understand. So we have no idea what they decided, and they brought a big long truck and parked a small car under it and said that we should climb the small car and enter the truck. If you are not going to enter the truck, you should just come out and they're going to shoot you. So we all have no idea what to do, and like we were all scared. No one wants to start like climbing and entering the truck. And they said, okay, if you're not going to enter, just say your last prayer. We're going to kill all of you. And some of the girls started entering the truck. So I and my friend entered the truck and sat down in the truck. But the truck wasn't big enough to carry all of us because a lot of students came from different schools and like in Chibok. So there were over like about 300 girls. The truck wasn't big enough, and they said the rest of the girls can walk and follow the truck. So the rest of the girls started walking until we reached a small village nearby, and they said the journey is too long, they can't make it, so they have to squeeze in and enter the truck. So some of the girls have to squeeze in, and we're sitting on other people's leg in the truck. It wasn't comfortable, and they put some of the girls in the car. So those girls were not able to escape because it was a closed car. So they started moving with us in the bush area because they were not following the main roads. They only followed the bushes, and the road was rough, so they can't move faster. So it was dark and in the forest. After we drove for a while, and some of the girls started jumping out because there's a little bit distance between us in the truck, and there's some cars in front of us and some at the back. So because the rough road, they were not moving faster. There's a chance that you can jump out, but you have to be brave enough to jump out and then run into the bush and hide somewhere before when all of the cars pass by and you can see or you can hear them. Then you have to find your way home from there. So some of the girls started jumping out, and something just came to my mind. I was like, if these girls can jump out and like we don't see them anymore, and I didn't see any of the Boko Haram members following them or something in the bush, why can't I just try and jump out too? Because they didn't tell us where we're going to. I don't know where I'm going. So I turned and said to one of my friends that I'm going to jump out, and she said okay, she will jump after me. So I jumped first, and then she jumped and followed me, and then we were able to enter the forest and hid there. And when they all passed, we were trying to find where we were, but we have no idea. And my friend injured both of her ankles. She couldn't walk, but we were able to sat there and spend the night until the next day. We found just nomad people that travel in the bushes with the cows and sheep. So I tried and asked him for help, but at first he said he can't help us, but I tried all I can to convince him because he was the only help that we found there. And at the end he decided to help. We put my friend on his bicycle and he wheeled the bicycle and I followed him and he took us to a village, and that's where we found a man with a motorcycle that carried us and took us home. So when I went back home, I know staying at home was not safe for me. But I just have this thought on my mind that I'm not going to school anymore, because that was the second attack that I've experienced. And after we escaped, the Boko Haram released a video saying that if they found us, that we that escaped and go to school, they're going to find us and they're going to kill us and our family. So that scares me a lot, not to go to school. I was like, okay, I'm done with school. I'm not going to school anymore. But I'm really glad I'm here today. I've seen a lot of progress in my life. I'm getting an education, and well, like 175 of my classmates are still missing. They're back there. They're not getting the education that I'm getting today. I mean, I know all of them have a dream before. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a teacher. But now their dream is like in vain because they're not getting the education. They're not becoming what they wanted to be. So I feel like educating a woman is really important. That's what it like inspires me to come here today and to celebrate International Women's Day, because it's really important. Now I know why educating a woman is important, because of what I've been through. And even though a lot of people believe that it's not important to educate a woman, but I feel like we're all equal, so everyone deserves to be educated, and every woman deserves to be whatever she wanted to be in the future. So, and we can't do that. We have to tell people about it, because there are a lot of people that don't know the situation going back in other places. So we all have to work together and make that happen.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that incredibly powerful story. Suzie, I wonder if you could touch on why you think sort of educating girls is important, and it's not just important for her, but for her family and her community.
Hi, my name is Suzie. I'm from the northern part of Nigeria. We're known in Nigeria that the northern girls are mostly married, like they just get married, they don't let them go to school. It is so true, because I came from that kind of family. I'm the only person in my family to go to school. I have three elder sisters. My elder sister got married when she was 16. She was forced to marry. And my older sister, she was forced also to marry at age 12. She was really young. And while I was growing up, I was like the small child there, and I told my mom that, look at my elder sisters, they all got married. It's not like they really want to get married, but they were forced to. Now they're married. Look at you and married. You got married when you were 14, and you have us, which is, well, good, I think, the way you wanted. But then I don't want to live a life like the way you had, like the way you're living right now, just to stay at home, wait for our dad to like bring everything. This is not right. I want to make my own choice. She said, well, this is not what is happening. You just have to obey what we said, because this is not gonna happen. So I was like, okay. So when I turned 11 years, she said, this is your husband. Because in my culture, if your mother is pregnant, another family, you have to either get married to your first cousin or second cousin. That's how we do it. I am from Fulani. I don't know, you're in Nigeria, so I'm sure you know that. So Fulani, usually they marry within themselves, and you must get married either when you're 13 or either when you're 14. They don't believe in education. So she said, I have to get married once I turn 12 or 13, because I have my husband. I was like, my husband? Who is my husband? And then they brought him. He was really big. I think he was like 20, and I was just like, is he 10? Then I was 10. I was like, this man? She was like, yeah, and he's your cousin, and you're getting married to him. I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. I want to go to school. She said, I will either choose education, or I will just, either they will kill me, or I will follow my own way. So I was like, okay, what should I do? Then a family, Emmanuel's parent, met the woman that was taking care of me, said, no, there must be something we can do to help this girl. They took me, they helped me they sponsored me, they were hiding me all over because the way we are with the Fulanis, if you like, we all look alike in Nigeria. So if you see me, you will know that this girl is from a different tribe. So therefore, you might meet someone that knows you in that family. So like I was hiding, I couldn't go out. I did boarding school, I was hiding. While I was in boarding school, I was called that someone found out that I was in that school. I have to like leave that school. And then I was in another school, I was found again, I was there. They have to like take me to another place. So to like just summarize everything, education is really important, especially like in my own case. I am sure that one day I'll be educated and I'll go back to my family and tell them how education has really changed me. Look at me today, like I can stand and speak. Before I can't do anything. Like I just have to listen to what other people said. But now, because I know how education is to me, I can say, no, this is not right. This is what I want to do because I know what is right for me. So education helps women to like decide what they want and also to like challenge other people and say, hey, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. So, yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you, Suzie. And you're hoping to be a lawyer one day?
Yes, I want to be a lawyer. And the reason why I want to be a lawyer is that I want to be an advocate to people, especially to the northern Nigerian, to Muslims per se. Because they all believe in, like Muslims, they don't have like a say. It's what their parents say. Okay, this is what you want to do. That's the kind of family I can, like, I can't say anything. If they say do this, you just have to do it. You can't decide. So I want to like be an advocate and say, hey, you can do it. Don't follow what they say. You have your own right to like do what you want.
Fantastic. And then Connie, I know you were just we were talking a little earlier about the impact of education on a sort of global sort of facts and figures scale. I wondered if you had any last thoughts to share.
Well, just, it's so really wonderful to see your personal stories and to really know that each one of these 130 million is an individual girl with an individual dream, an individual potential. But talking in terms of statistics, we know that if every girl was educated, that would make an economic impact in developing countries of $100 billion. And it would save the lives of 1.2 million children per year. So we're talking about a huge impact around the world simply by educating girls. And if you think about it, with 50% of the workforce just not being utilized, 50% of brilliant brain power not being utilized, it's diminishing us, and we don't need to be diminished.
No, we can be so much more than we currently are if we bring everyone to the fore. Well, with that, I'd like to just thank everyone for joining us for a few minutes today and sharing their stories and experiences. And if you haven't already gone to one.org to join Girls Count, then please do so. Join the fight. Thank you very much.